Okay, it says I started recording. Oh, there we go. There goes my sound. Looks like it's glitching like crazy. All right. I want to talk about Frank Viola's. This is a response to Frank Viola's, I don't know what you call it, commentary. 4 reasons why Christians believe conspiracy theories. And then it says, read before removal for violating community standards, which is just sarcasm on his part because he doesn't think YouTube would remove something for violating community standards, I suppose. It starts out here as a quote, says, let's look at this here. Okay, I can get myself out of the way a sec here. All right. So, 4 reasons why Christians believe conspiracy theories. Social change is better achieved by being for something than against something. Helen Gale. Now, I don't know how you'd prove that. I don't know. That just sounds like a cute saying, but who knows? I mean, is that really true? I don't know if that's true. Okay, so let me give a little background for people that might not be familiar. Frank Viola's leading. He's one of the leaders in the house church movement, and I really like Frank Viola. This is not like an attack; it's just a response on this particular article he wrote. I like Frank Viola's movement, his emphasis on seeking Christ first and minute by minute, your daily walk through life, not just for major decisions, but just for sort of everything, like what should I do now and how should I go about this and what should I do now and what about that and so forth. So it's a very enlightening, profound movement that he's part of. But let's go back to the topic at hand here, this article. Warning, this article will soon vanish from the internet, so be sure to read and spread it before the globalists take it down forever. And he clears throat like he's only... Well, the thing is, they're doing that to a lot of people. I don't know why he doesn't think that that's actually happening to real people. I mean, YouTube's taken down several of my videos because of this community standards or whatever you want to call it. In last Thursday's Unfiltered article, I promise I'd tell you why I believe countless Christians who are otherwise intelligent, psychologically well-adjusted, godly, and spread crazy sauce conspiracy theories. All right, so what we'll do is we'll look at to see what he has to say first, and then I'll comment later, I guess. Now, hear me before you read this further. Genuine conspiracies do exist in history. For example, the U.S. government poisoned alcohol during the Prohibition, tested the effects of LSD on citizens without their knowledge, and did some unnerving experiments with STDs in Guatemala. These and others are historically documented. What does it mean to be historically documented? All right. I talk about real conspiracies in one of the episodes of the Insurgent podcast in 2019. Further, there is proof of collusion, a chapter titled from my book, Insurgents. It has nothing to do with Russian collusion, by the way, but the more important collusion that Jesus and Paul spoke about. Are politicians on both sides of the aisle taking advantage of the present virus crisis? Of course, that's a given. That said, most conspiracy theories, especially the ones floating around social media right now, are preposterous and most are demonstrably false. Believing a conspiracy is not an indicator of intelligence, as you'll see in a few minutes. It's rather an indication of something else, something we all are susceptible to. Yea, and I know that's not proper English, about which I don't particularly care. Therefore, shaming a person for buying into screwball's conspiracy theory is inappropriate and, well, just plain wrong. In my Virus Crisis Survival Guide, which you should have memorized by now. I explained that even if a conspiracy theory happens to be true, it's completely irrelevant to how we should be responding to this crisis. I don't know how I could say that. I won't repeat what I wrote here. He's not going to repeat what he wrote there, but if you're new to my work, just read the guide. Okay. The anatomy of a conspiracy theory. You know what, maybe I better pick this apart line by line, because by the time I get finished, I'm going to have to go back over it anyway, so I'll pick it apart as I go. Let me see, okay. All right, believing conspiracy is not an indicator of intelligence, but it could be. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of people that are on to something, often are onto things because of intelligence. Okay, he says something else. He says shaming a person for buying a screwball conspiracy theory is inappropriate. Well, the thing is, by the time we get done this article, you see that that's what he's doing, is shaming people for believing. Because I mean, he already engaged in a little bit of that at the beginning of the article. Okay, the anatomy of a conspiracy theory. The anatomy of a conspiracy theory is one that by its very DNA begs to be spread so that others know, because, dude, everyone has to wake up and be informed. Well, that's not the only reason. It's not just you do something with that information. It's like you're going to try to change the course. For instance, they're talking about these, the forced vaccination. And so I was saying, that forced vaccination is going to cause a civil war. If the CDC comes knocking somebody's door, they're going to greet them with an AK-47. So therefore, Trump says, we're going to have the military give out the vaccines. See? So because he knows that that's what would happen. So who's got more gun power, the military or some loner in their house with one semi-automatic? Okay, it says this in turn distracts otherwise godly people from talking about Jesus and his kingdom. It also causes some to go Looney Tunes on these theories where nothing else seems to matter. Okay, well, that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to distract people from talking about Jesus. In fact, Jesus is a big part of this whole global battle. Okay, so, but I agree with them. People can go Looney Tunes and they can talk about nothing else. Conspiracies, for the most part, increase our faith in human creativity, imagination, while reducing our faith in human discernment. I don't know. I mean, but a lot of these statements could be true in some cases, and true in other cases, and false in other cases. As conspiracy narratives are being pushed upon us, a lost world is watching Christians act like fighting cats. They're also so distracted that they hardly ever proclaim the glories of Christ on their social media feeds. Well, I mean, I guess that could happen. Once again, that could happen. It doesn't always happen. And I always bring in Jesus into my talks. As I put it in my article last Thursday, Jesus has called you to make disciples to himself and his kingdom, not converts to your opinions. Well, you know what? That's sort of unavoidable. I mean, people can consider that what you have to tell them about Jesus is your opinion. So I don't know how you're going to avoid that. And besides, what does it mean to be a disciple in Jesus' kingdom? Doesn't that mean to stand up to the world? Here's an experiment. Look at 50 posts on your Facebook friends in your news feed or Twitter or LinkedIn. Compare the number of the posts you see that talk about or reference the gospel of the kingdom versus those that discuss other things like evil conspiracies or your general griping and fault finding over the virus. Do account for both. If you love Jesus, you might get so depressed your eyes will cross. Okay, well, I mean, I think he's right about that. There's not many theorists that bring Jesus into it, you know, and they probably should more, you know, if you're a Christian, which I agree with him. The measure of my spirit of criticism is the measure of my distance from Christ. E. Stanley Jones, that's a quote. Measure my spirit of criticism. I don't know about that either. Jesus criticized things all the time. You know, does that mean he wasn't close to God? Back to the subject. Why, pray tell, do so many Christian people buy into crazy town conspiracies, even when they've been debunked? Well, who's debunking them? What does that mean? They've been debunked. What do you mean? You know. In preparation for this article, I saw the foremost expert on conspiracy theories thinking that he would be able to shed light on this subject. Unfortunately, Elvis was occupied, so I tried pinging Tupac, but he wasn't available either. There are basically 4 reasons why countless Christians not only latch onto these theories, but why they spend all their social media bandwidth sharing and defending them, while Jesus Christ and his kingdom get left out in the cold. That being interpreted means they expend all their online calories on discussing unproven theories instead of the Lord Jesus Christ, which is what the world needs. And no, those two aren't the same thing. On this score, if you use social media, I encourage you to take my 15-day challenge and let's see how you do. Sorry for the digression. I'm blowing a little steam here. Now, this next sentence is foundational. People are apt to falling into emotional quicksand during a crisis. And conspiracy theories appeal to our emotions, not our intellects. This explains why intelligent people can believe them. Why Christians and non-Christians believe conspiracy theories. Moral and intellectual superiority. Conspiracy theories make people feel morally superior to others, and that in turn raises their self-esteem. They feel smart, knowledgeable, and knowledge is power, as they say. The exclusive feeling of being in the know makes people feel special, and they have great pity or outrage on the poor, befuddled masses who are asleep. Consequently, their newfound mission is to save humankind from its blindness. Well, remember Jesus said he saw people as sheep without a shepherd? I mean, you know. So there's a certain self-righteousness that comes believing and spreading such theories. Conspiracy theories are so entrenched in the minds of some that they appear impenetrable. When a person has dug their heels into defending a theory, any pushback is viewed as persecution. It sounds like this. Don't get mad at me, man, because you can't handle the truth, but I'm a messenger. Wake up, dude. Wipe that yellow matter custard out of your eyes and wake up. You see how peddling conspiracy theories is a lot like evangelism. It's a tragic substitute, a deflection and a distraction to what really important. And what can actually change a person's life. Both Christians' lives and non-Christians' lives, the gospel of the kingdom. Wake up and smell the irony. The desire for certainty right now is a time of mammoth uncertainty. As I explained last week, nobody knows what's really going on or where the current pandemic is headed. Uncertainty makes people feel unsafe and insecure. By contrast, conspiracy theories feed people's profound need for certainty. They end up making us feel psychologically safe at a subconscious level. You know what, though? I see nothing wrong with that. You should feel safe at a subconscious level. I think that if you're able to unpack this stuff, it can help you gain footing on your emotions. It sounds like this. Now I know what's really going on. I saw this video before YouTube took it down. It explains everything, so I can finally take a nap today without keeping one eye open. Well, that's exactly right, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's the way it should work. I don't see why he's condemning people for doing something that makes sense. When things aren't certain or predictable, humans get stressed, and predictably is a stress reducer. Predictability is a stress reducer. This is one reason why routines help maintain your sanity. Correct, and so I don't disagree with them that it's unhealthy. It's not unhealthy. But those who experience life in the kingdom of God are comfortable with unpredictability and uncertainty. This is partly because our king is radically unpredictable. Okay, well, I agree with that too, though. I mean, that's one of, Frank Viola's movements. What would you call it? Values. Okay, that's one of the things that makes it so valuable, is because yes, that is true. There's if you're going to follow Christ, it's going to be unpredictability and uncertainty. And I'll give you some examples when I'm done here from my own life. I feel sorry for my friends. Let's put it that way, because one day I'm talking about, I guess it looks like I'm going to starve to death, and then the next day I say, well, I guess if I have to take the vaccine, I'll take it, because I don't think it's going to heal anything, because I think the whole thing's fake. It's fake. It's a fake virus and a fake vaccine, and the whole thing's fake. I mean, the fake vaccine might hurt you, but the vaccines don't cure anything as far as I'm concerned. If they worked, people that got the vaccines wouldn't care if the other people that didn't get vaccines didn't have them, because they couldn't get sick. They're already healed. They're supposed to be so healthy. So why would they care? See, so that's why vaccines is the whole vaccine thing, up and down, top to bottom, is fake, because they don't work. Because people say, okay, I got a vaccine, now I got to worry about other people that aren't vaccinated. No, your vaccine doesn't work then, because you wouldn't have to worry. See what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, I know all the science. I know about RNA and DNA and all the science and all the exosomes and all this stuff. And the thing is, I still don't believe anything good about vaccines, and I don't believe the history of vaccines. Where they say, well, it cured this and cured that, I don't believe it. Okay, I said it before, I said it again. Give up your need for certainty. Give it up for Lent, which is going on many of you right now. This was, I guess, a little while ago when we wrote this. Laziness. People buy into conspiracy theories. As a general rule, don't want to be bothered with doing the hard work of thinking critically. Well, that's absolutely backwards. Because this is the point. This is my main point. Why I'm responding to this is because, okay, as I would say, as a general rule, people that buy into conspiracy theories are doing it because they are doing the hard work and thinking critically. And I'm gonna, and this is this is what I'm going to end up with here. That was 1,300 pages I read. You tell me that's not hard work? Okay, if you think critically through every assumption upon which most conspiracy theories are built, you quickly realize that it's more plausible to believe that injecting light beams into your body will cure you of all illnesses, including COVID-19. Can't remember where I heard that one. There was theories of light, and actually go out in the. That's why they had solariums and so forth. Critical thinking would end most conspiracy theories dead in its tracks, but laziness and critical thinking don't coexist too well. Well, that might be true, but we're not talking about lazy people. For example, the idea that all government and corporate hierarchies on the planet Earth have the ability to highly organize themselves into some grand evil plot on humanity strains the bounds of credulity until they snap. Come on now, the average government could barely pull off organizing a children's picnic, which is not true. The average government has a number for everybody, social security numbers, so forth. So this is how I'm gonna like really, encourage Frank Viola to, Okay, so Carroll Quigley, this is the book. Okay, where, Carroll Quigley, who was the historian. Oh, come on. Where am I? Oh, I'm over here. That's right. Okay. Carroll Quigley, who was the historian for the Council of Foreign Relations. Okay. History of world. Okay, this is all about how they conspired to do this, and how they conspired to do that, and how they conspired to do this, and how they conspired to do that. 1,300 pages of the guy who works for, and he's pro conspiracy. He likes the New World Order. I mean, this is a pro. He's saying, okay, after we've decided to do this, okay, the powers of financial capitalism had another far-reaching aim: Nothing less than create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. This system was to be controlled in a feudalistic fashion by the central banks of the world, acting in concert by secret agreements arrived at in frequent meetings and conferences. The apex of the system was to be the Bank for the International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, a private bank owned and controlled by the world's central banks, which were themselves private corporations. Each central bank sought to dominate its government by its ability to control treasury loans, to manipulate foreign exchanges, to influence the level of economic activity in the country, and to influence cooperative politicians by subsequent economic rewards in the business world. End of story. Woo! Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay, let's see here. Whoops. I don't want to move myself. I need to shrink myself. There we go. Okay. So, all right. Again, outlandish conspiracy theories aren't about logic. They're about emotions. But once somebody has made up their minds that a given conspiracy theory is true, it's almost impossible to shake them out of it. A reckless disregard for truth strangely kicks in. Keep in mind that a highly intelligent person can be lazy when it comes to critical thinking. Boredom alleviation. Right now, people who are locked up in their homes are beyond bored. It is boredom raised to the 40th power. Just look at the stuff your friends post on social media. Those eyebrow-raising posts are demonstrable proof that people are bored out of their minds. By contrast, conspiracy theories are both fun and fascinating. They remove boredom, plain and simple. And here's an added insight. Right now, one of the most important skills that the Lord wants to teach us all is how to transcend boredom. That is, without smoking crack, injecting heroin, watching pornography, snorting coke, or spending hours watching conspiracy-laden YouTube videos. Good observation, if you caught it. All these are about equally as addictive. The alleviation of boredom is tied to being productive in creative ways, something I talked about in my survival guide. Sustaining boredom is a spiritual discipline right now, one that I'm also learning as I spend most days on virtual house arrest, lockdown, or at least he calls it house arrest. It's true. Look at that, Frank's discography. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I don't know if I'm going to read the rest of this. I think that. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think you get the picture. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's it. That's my kind of retort or response, I guess I should say, to Frank Viola and his take on conspiracy theories. And it's interesting because we got to get to the bottom of what's going on in terms of where are we going with all this now. I had said to my friend, well, I'm not taking this vaccine, and now I'm saying, well, you know what? Because here's what I was planning on doing. See, my mom is still alive, and I visit my mom all the time, and I don't practice social distancing, and I don't practice anything that the CDC recommends. I purposely I do like what George Carlin says. You got to see the George Carlin on germs. I'll have to put that. Maybe I'll put that on the end of this video. But at any rate, so I'm saying, well, okay, I got to wear this mask, which is ridiculous. It's dehumanizing. It's just one of their ways of dehumanizing people. That's all part of the way they do things. They like to dehumanize. So, let me see. George Carlin. Let's see what I can come up with on it. Okay. All right. So, So I was saying, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep, I'm going to keep going along. I'll wear the mask. I will, because I got to shop for my mom, okay. And I figured, okay, when my mom passes, I will take the mask off and never wear the mask again, and I will starve to death, and I'm all right with that. That's a good plan. But then I thought, well, look, I was talking to some of my friends, and my one friend says, well, maybe, before you do that, we could find some more positive things to do. So, okay, so I said, all right, let's, I'll think about this. And I came up with, all right, you know what I'd like to do? I'm going to take Pennsylvania, and we're going to separate from the federal government. So, it's going to be Pennsylvania independent movement. And so I'm going to run for governor and on the independence platform, and we're going to leave the union. And so I'm saying, well, okay, I got to stick around for that. So I figured, okay, rather than starving to death, then I'll take the vaccine. I mean, it's vaccines don't cure anything anyways. It's just, it might harm me, but if God wants me to do this, and God will, he'll prevent me from being harmed by the vaccine. I'm all right with that too. And if it kills me, so what, So the important thing is, okay, I'm going to stick around, and I'm going to stick around until there's no more federal government. The federal government's evil. People the only reason people give me for, we need a federal government is fear. They have fear. They're fearful reasons. So, I hate to say this because I'm gonna offend a lot of people, but if you believe we need the federal government, you're a coward. That's all there is to it. The federal government's for cowards. And so I just categorize you as a coward, and cowards don't go to heaven, by the way. If you read the book of Revelation, you'll see cowards do not go to heaven. So if you want to be free, then you're going to join the movement to abolish the federal government. State by state we could do it. And not that I agree necessarily. The states are only as good as the, you got to have a governor who's not part of the New World Order, but you figure that's going to make it 50 times more difficult to control the United States if each of the 50 states was an independent nation. And it's going to make, it's going to multiply freedom by 50 factorial. So freedom is going to just go out the window, I'm through the roof. Not at the window, through the roof, right? I mean, freedom will be like, there's going to be all kinds of things you could have. The states could then split up even further. You could have like a Christian theocracy in, say, Western Pennsylvania. You could have an LGBTQ nation in, say, New York, parts of New York. You could have a Muslim nation in maybe the Detroit area and so forth. And so this would give people the freedom to really do what they want. But I'm going to, so that's what I'll spend the rest of my life doing in terms of politics. So that that'll be my political format, whatever you want to call it. So if Pennsylvania was independent and I was governor, there would be no vaccines if you didn't want them. I mean, if you want vaccines, go ahead. I don't care what you stick yourself with. That's fine. But there wouldn't be. You wouldn't have to wear a mask. You wouldn't have. There wouldn't be any lockdown, lock up, lock anything. You'd keep your business open if you wanted to. If you were afraid of some boogeyman or some invisible, scary monster virus or something, stay home. You're allowed to stay home. But this thing what they pulled off here is an atrocity. Now, here's the thing. God uses evil people to accomplish all kinds of stuff. That's all there's to. I don't know. See, this is philosophically the Bible cannot be understood, because if you're gonna try to understand the Bible philosophically in the three-dimensional world, you're gonna come up with a resolution that is not very satisfying. It's unresolved. Oh, hold on, let me see. Why my hold on. Okay, there we go. My computer decided to screen save on me when I'm doing this. I don't know why it would do that. I can't even tell if I'm running. Am I running? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. So, philosophically, you'd be led to think, okay, well, God is using thugs to do his dirty work and so forth. And then Jesus comes along and it's like, he contradicts that whole, so there's such a contradiction that it can't be resolved in three dimensions. You got to have an extra dimensional reality above and beyond for this to really make any sense. And it's not going to I don't think it's never going to make sense to me. I don't think ever. But that's not what I believe. I believe because I think it's historically correct, not because I find it philosophically satisfying. I mean, there's certain things about it philosophically satisfying. I mean, the idea that God made the world, he created it. It's not this stupid, evolution nonsense. That this is the most complex, sophisticated, intelligent, informational, rich systems imaginable. I mean, beyond the imagination. It just happened by an accident. So that's that's retarded. So anyway, we got this situation here where I don't think this vaccine is the mark of the beast, although it has a lot of things in common with the mark of the beast. It's certainly, there's certainly things that would qualify, but I think there's not enough to it at this point yet to, because it's not really, there's not saying, there's not necessarily a worship dynamic to it at this point. Is not requiring you to deny Christ necessarily. I don't think that's the case. If I thought that, but my main reason is okay. According to the Bible, the Sabbath of 1,000-day years is not for about 220 years according to the Hebrew calendar. So this isn't too far away from the actual end to think that this is. For me to think that this is actually the mark of the beast at this point. It does say the days would be foreshortened, and I'm not predicting dates. Because Jesus said you won't know the day or the hour, but he didn't say anything about the week or the month or the year. In fact, he said you should be aware what's going on. In that case. So. So the other thing, if I have that, vaccine and they're going to prevent friends of mine that don't, I can go shopping for them and stuff like that. And I know what they're going to do. Of course, they're going to say, okay, you're a single person. You're allowed to buy one loaf of bread per every 4 days. You're allowed 1 gallon of milk for 5 days, and so forth. So if they see you shopping for a family or something, they're going to investigate it, something like that. But this is really weird. We are, look, you got Trump, the vaccine antichrist, who wants to send the military out to give you, and it's funny because of course they could do it with Trump because everybody, all these conservative and right wingers and all these people think he's so wonderful of a savior because. His conservative rhetoric and his, but look, it's like professional wrestling. And Trump, I believe he was in that business before, right? And so, of course, he wants to put on a big show. Let's make fun of the media. Let's go after the media and all the conservatives. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to the military to vaccinate you. Oh, well, it's we're all right with that. It's Trump, and all these people, one of the things, as much as I love the lockdown protests. I love those lockdown protests. they were, to me, there was the highlight. They're the true heroes of this thing. The lockdown protests, the doctors that are speaking out. What's the guy's name? Kaufman, Dr. Kaufman, Andrew Kaufman. Yeah, I'm going to do the true heroes of the coronavirus. It's not the tweaking nurses. It's the, or the police brutalizing people for not wearing masks. No, they're not the heroes. The true heroes are the people that are fighting back and pushing back, because it's coming up to, it's push back or die. That's the push back or die. And by the way, I have a sign. I'm gonna erect it tomorrow. It's a sign. I'm going to be on a lawn sign on my property that says "Fake pandemic, real tyranny." And so this pandemic thing was so fake. Now they have this option of like rolling out a real. Now here's the thing. I got a friend, or an acquaintance, who believes that this virus was what do they call it? Biological warfare or something to this. Well, here's the thing. David Icke had the best response to that. Is that how would they prevent themselves from getting this thing if it's I mean, let's say there is such a thing as an antidote and they took it already, but I mean they would, if they just let something like that. Now I do believe that there's a good reason to think that because Dr. Budhar showed that he tracked down the patent for the coronavirus that Bill and Melinda Gates paid for. I think it's this particular one. And I think that they released this. Here's what I believe. Okay, I believe that they were planning this whole fear pandemic. Okay, so in other words, whether there was anything or not, they figured, well, we're going to have something. The flu season's coming. But just to make sure, let's release a little bit of, something that's not, particularly harmful or whatever. I never seen so many people afraid of something that has no symptoms. It's like, okay, you got this invisible symptomless disease, and last thing I want is to have a symptomless disease, and the few people they're saying it's actually causing anything. I don't know if it's causing anything. That stupid test they have, you can't find the genetic code or the base pairs for this RNA that they're supposed to be testing for, the segment. You can't find it on the internet. I don't see, if somebody could find that gene sequence that they're testing for in these tests, whatever these rapid tests are, for instance. Find that gene sequence, because supposedly the coronavirus is 29,811. Now, base pairs. Now, how many base pairs are they testing for, and which base pairs are? What does it look like? What is it? Is it something that shows up in exosomes? Because there really is the whole virus theory is wrong, which I think is probably correct. I mean, there's people kicking that around now that what you're really looking at is pre-existing disease, and your body's producing this stuff, and they're interpreting it as viruses. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a pack of RNA and a little capsule, kind of, you know what I mean? So anyway, where I was going before, I was saying, that God uses these thugs and so forth, and God's using, look at how poorly behaved the world has become. How you have this, what they called, global homo thing, where, people are, this whole transgender trends and all this stuff, where the cultural Marxist ideology of no traditional families, and let's get rid of traditional families, and the government is God. I mean, this is really satanic. This is Satan exalting himself through these people above God. Now, I mean, that's why it will come down to a point where you're going to choose to be in the kingdom of God, what Frank Viola is always talking about, or you're going to follow this Antichrist system, and it's going to cost you your life. Right now, it's not there. Now, I'm willing to. I really think that right now, because I've been praying about it and kicking it around, and what do I do, and talking about it, because I was prepared to starve to death. I was ready, willing, and able to do this, just for not wearing the mask. Just on that alone, to me, was enough of saying, okay, look, this is genuine tyranny, and I'm not going to go along with this, but like I said, my mom's still alive, and I got to go shopping for her now. I figure, well, when she passes, then that'll be it. I'll take the mask off and starve to death. I'm all right with that. And then I was thinking, well, maybe when they roll out the vaccine, I won't take that. I'll starve to death then. But then I figured, well, why don't I stay and fight? Because I could probably be more in pain in the neck. That would be great if we could take Pennsylvania out of the Union. I would love that. Oh my gosh, that would be excellent. And maybe God will allow us to do that, because there is a thing about, in the end times you have the camp of the saints where it's safe. There's going to be a place that's safe. Where you can make safe places, but look, that's what they're doing in South Africa, for instance. There's all this. This happens when whites are a minority, and they give the power of rulership over to blacks. Say in Haiti, they killed all the whites. They murder them. They just murder them all. It's not like, okay, here in America, if you're a black minority in a white-run country, everybody gets upset if a cop murders one person, like this would happen in Minneapolis recently. See, I'm upset about that too. But in these places, Zimbabwe, the power was given from the white minority over to the blacks, and they murdered all the whites. And they're doing that now in South Africa. They're working on it. They're getting there. That's the direction they're heading in. And so there is a white colony in South Africa that split off, and they just have their own little thing, and it's peace and prosperity, and it's it's nice. So maybe that and I would, and I'm not really interested in dividing along those lines. Although people that want to divide along racial lines, I'm fine with that. It's absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. The people that oppose that are evil haters. People that allow the people freedom to divide any which way they want are the people that love humanity. And that's how you can tell who loves humanity or not. This is why I got a problem with a lot of these so libertarian. I'm a libertarian. Really? Okay, so if somebody wanted to split off and have their own theocracy, or if somebody wanted to split off and have white separatist or black separatist, anything, you're all right with that? Oh no, everybody's got, what I mean? So they're not really libertarians. The whole that libertarian thing is pretty fake. It's just what the libertarians are. I'm a libertarian. Therefore, if you're not a libertarian, fuck you. I'm going to kill you. What I mean? That's really how libertarians work. They're no different than all the other scumbags. But a true libertarian, somebody says, okay, look, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to have a monarchy, if you want to have a theocracy, I'm all right with that. That's what I call myself, a meta libertarian. So in other words, actually on the micro scale, I'm not really libertarian. I'm a Christian theocrat. But on the global scale, I'm a meta libertarian. In other words, if somebody wants to have a theocracy, let them have a theocracy. If somebody wants to have a white separatist nation, let them have a white separatist nation. What's wrong with freedom? What's wrong with diversity? Why are you going to force somebody violently to be forced together? That's forced association. It's violence. There's people, they get me angry. So that, On that, since I'm so angry, maybe let's run that George Carlin thing. I think that would be, and I could say so long from here. If you're easily offended by the F word, you better go somewhere else. Let me put this on full screen. All right, let me see if I can. Ah, here it is. Hey, George. It's a good. Now, George Carlin here. He's going to give you. He's going to be the spokesman for the CDC. Now, you do everything he tells you. You obey that CDC. Oh boy.